You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 5th day of February 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first one's our live training room. That's for members only and those taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael comes on in a bit, he'll walk you through step by step how to do it. We can get you up and running today. Your trial will start tomorrow. You'll get 5 consecutive trading days, even when it stretches over a weekend or a holiday, and there's no credit card required. We want you to be able to focus on the task at hand, not worried about the money, and show up, ask questions, do the work, so that at the end of your trial, you can make a well-informed and intelligent decision whether or not what we do is right for you. All right. When the live training room ends, we take a 30-minute break and come back for the afternoon broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there'll be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email. It'll automatically log you into our platform. And that gives you access to the question box. So you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to catch up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CFRN. Easy to remember. You already got the YouTube part down, so just remember /CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every afternoon on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting if you will, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,700 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Again, youtube.com/CFRN. This is our schedule each afternoon, so we're going to dive right into our daily devotional. Our scripture today, the topic that we're in, day 3 of 5, learning to pray the Jesus way. Our scripture today is Luke 11:5 through 13. I'm going to share it with you from the Message translation. Then he said, imagine what would happen if you went to a friend in the middle of the night and said, friend, lend me 3 loaves of bread. An old friend traveling through just showed up and I don't have a thing on hand. The friend answers from his bed. Don't bother me. The doors are locked. My children are all down for the night. I can't get up to give you anything. But let me tell you, even if he won't get up because he's a friend, if you stand your ground, knocking and waking all the neighbors, he'll finally get up and get you whatever you need. Here's what I'm saying. Ask and you'll get. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will open. Don't bargain with God. Be direct. Ask for what you need. This is not a cat and mouse, hide and seek game we're in. If your little boy asks for a serving of fish, do you scare him with a live snake on his plate? If your little girl asks for an egg, do you trick her with a spider? As bad as you are, you wouldn't think of such a thing. You're at least decent to your own children. And don't you think the Father who conceived you in love will give the Holy Spirit when you ask him? Again, that's Luke 11, verses 5 through 13. So again, the topic of this devotional is learning to pray the Jesus way. Today we'll talk about learning to pray persistently. Persistent praying is having a never give up attitude with prayer. It's pushing through when you feel like you're at an impasse or when it feels like nothing is changing. It's being dogged and sometimes repetitive even in asking God for things. The basis of this kind of prayer is having a perfect Heavenly Father who gives good gifts to his children. Persistence is the catalyst to the process of praying. You may wonder if persistence is necessary, considering God already knows what we want or need. Why do we have to go on asking? Jesus tells his disciples in Luke 11 that they should ask, seek, and knock in order to receive what they ask for. Interestingly, the Hebrew words for these three verbs are in the present continuous tense, which means they actually are keep asking, keep seeking, and keep knocking. Jesus used two parables to illustrate the concept of persistence in prayer, which indicates that it's an important spiritual discipline. The obstacle to this kind of prayer, though, is our need for instant gratification. We want instant responses, which are either yes or no. We hate delays or ambiguity. We want answers the very same day, almost like instant coffee or frozen dinners. The reality that we must come to terms with is that some prayers take months or even years to be answered. Persistent prayers may not change others or our circumstances, but they do change us. They change our hearts, our posture, and our mindsets, and reinforce the hope that we find in Jesus. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for inviting us to ask, seek, and knock, knowing that you are a loving and generous God. Help us to pray with persistence and faith, trusting that you hear and answer according to your perfect will. Fill us with your Holy Spirit, guide us, in your truth and provide for our every need. May we always rely on your goodness and your grace. It's in Jesus' name that we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Wednesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. Currently, the Dow is up 124 points. Nasdaq's up 15. S&P 500 up 11. The Russell 2000 up 20. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.52, trading 71.18 last. That's a drop of a little over 2%. Gold up $22.20, trading 28.98 last. Silver down 2 cents, trading $33 even last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 33 points. Shanghai dropped 21. The Hang Seng fell 192, which is almost 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 52. The DAX up 80. The CAC down 14. So that gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. But so far, it's a green radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Let's take a peek at the news. Our hearts and prayers go out to the folks in Sweden. At least 10 people were killed and an undisclosed number of people wounded yesterday after a shooter opened fire at an adult education center in central Sweden, in what officials described as the country's worst mass shooting ever. The attacker was shot and killed. Motive remains unclear as of this writing, though officials believe he acted alone. The assailant began firing around 12:30 p.m. local time at the city of Orebros. There's a school there for adults seeking remedial education and vocational training, including migrants. The institute, located in the vicinity of other schools for children, was less populated at the time of the attack. Students present were forced to shelter in place. Officials had not released information on the type of weapon used or the identity of the attacker or victims as of this writing. While gun violence in much of Europe has declined over the last 2 decades, increased juvenile gang conflict in Sweden has lifted the country's gun homicide rate to roughly 4 deaths per million inhabitants, more than double the European average. And yet in Chicago, at 20, 50 people get shot every weekend? I mean, it's just crazy. And Chicago has some of the toughest gun laws in the U.S. Hard to fathom. President Donald Trump's plans have been front and center for investors over the past week, causing investor angst and at times jumpy market action. But looking past the noisy headlines, the stock market has shown several signs of strength, providing equity strategists with ample reason to believe the path higher for stocks remains intact. Since last Monday's DeepSeek-driven AI sell-off in the markets, The S&P is now actually up about 0.3% from that drop. And despite some sharp downturns, particularly in pre-market trading, the benchmark index saw less than a 1% decline on Friday and Monday when tariff speculation was running rampant. Google parent Alphabet reported its fourth quarter earnings after the bell yesterday, beating on earnings per share and coming in roughly even on revenue. But they're down 8% on the day. The company fell short on its important cloud segment revenue. The company also dramatically expanded its capital expenditures for the year ahead from $57.9 billion to a planned $75 billion. Alphabet stock tumbled 7%, that's about where it's at right now, in early trading after the report came out yesterday. Alphabet's announcement comes as China said it's launching an antitrust probe into Google in what's widely seen as a retaliatory measure by Beijing against President Trump's 10% tariff on goods made in China. Alphabet is also contending with the fallout from China-based DeepSeek AI models, which rocked the tech world last week on news that they were cheaper to train and as capable as leading Silicon Valley companies' models, which come at a much higher price. And I'm going to put you on hold for one moment, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Every day it seems. Now I got an issue with the alarm on the house. It just goes off for no reason. Then it has to reset, and hopefully the guy's going to come fix it today. Supposed to come yesterday, but that never happened, so we'll see what happens today. So, we were on the news. Google announced today updates to its Gemini family of large language models, including a new product line with competitive pricing to low-cost artificial intelligence models like that of Chinese rival DeepSeek. The tech giant offers several versions of Gemini that vary in price and performance. It's already offered a lightweight variant known as Flash, but its new flashlight model is even cheaper. Kenya delivered a half-point rate cut to boost economic growth. Who'd have ever thought lowering rates would boost the economy? Well, maybe our Fed will get the memo. Oil fell as concerns that a trade war between the U.S. and China will hurt global growth overwhelmed U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to ramp up economic pressure on OPEC member Iran. And last, U.S. Treasury today maintained its guidance on keeping sales of longer-term debt unchanged well into 2025, despite newly installed Secretary Scott Bessent having criticized the issuance strategy of its predecessor before he was picked for the job. All right, we'll see. This is the first time with these new appointees that we have seen them just kind of stay the course. Everything else has been shake it up and do something different. Until something changes, guess what? Nothing changes. So, for now, we're going to follow Janet Yellen's plan. Okay, Logic 247, our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, silver, and gold. We're in week 340. Over the last 340 weeks, we've issued over 18,900 individual handcrafted alerts, and we've averaged on a weekly basis 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now this week, since the markets opened Sunday night, I didn't put anything out Sunday night because we had another huge gap lower open. The markets were kind of crazy. But so far this week, now Valerie did this recap at 9 a.m. Eastern. We've issued this week a total of 19 alerts. At the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 3. Gave us 16 actionable alerts, of which 2 or 13% would have been stopped out. Again, based on market structure and that very simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. Every logic alert has an entry price, an initial target, additional targets in many cases, and a final trade to target. And while yes, you can trade them, the real purpose is to help you to learn how to read a chart. We want to get you to the point where you can bring up the chart of any market, futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF, doesn't matter. And applying our humble set of indicators, you should instinctively know what the next high probability move is. What we've proven over 340 weeks and almost 19,000 individual alerts is that 20% of the time, the market does not do the next high probability thing. So if you're chasing that 100% holy grail, never get stopped out again, save your time, save your treasure. Learn how to read the chart, and that will help you learn how to trade. Now, 340 weeks is a very long time, but long before we rolled out Logic 247, our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, they're different. They don't come out around the clock. They come out shortly before or after the Globex open. Now, we had a couple of days where there was such a gap higher or lower open at the beginning of the Globex session that where I would originally put the long or short target, price gapped up all the way to that, not leaving any opportunity to trade. So I decided to wait last night. So it was an hour and 5 minutes after the market opened that I published the CTAs last night. So what that means is all of our members, all of our trial members had all of these targets an hour and 5 minutes after the market opened. The ES, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. If you're a member or trial member, be sure to read this information up top. Make sure you understand it. If you don't, ask. We'll get you an answer. Okay? So again, everybody had these targets 1 hour and 5 minutes after the open last night. So let's look at the daily chart. That's where we start every day, just to get a big picture view and see what the deep pockets are up to. Institutional traders are the ones who actually move price. They look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. The institutional trader can stay in a profitable position longer than you or I might be comfortable with. They can also withstand a much larger drawdown than you or I could. So, whether you trade futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, whatever, I encourage you to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're about to trade, just to get that big picture view of what the institutions are up to. Now, we had a pullback to the BBC. This is today, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. That's the Sunday night gap lower open. So even though we went all the way down to the 24% Feb retracement, we ended up closing the session just above the daily BBC. Yesterday, we closed right at the BBC. Today, we're just a bit above it. So even though we've spiked it, the pullback is held. The ominous part here is we've got red and falling overhead. And when we get, if we consolidate sideways for a couple days, this red and falling, there's a great possibility of it taking price back below the BBC. Now, the green line's called the BBC. It stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above it, we're bullish, expecting higher prices. When price crosses below it, we're bearish, expecting lower prices, higher prices. That part's pretty simple. Not only does the daily chart give you a look over the shoulder of the deep pockets, but it allows you to identify major areas of support and resistance that you might not see on your smaller time frame. For instance, right now price is overcoming the black step line. If it does, at 61.02, that's currently where red and falling is, you should definitely expect resistance if price gets up there. Unfortunately, on a smaller time frame, you would not know that that bearish indicator was hanging overhead. So make sure you get comfortable with multiple time frames. All right, here's the ES, the 30-minute chart. That's where all the alerts are created, both the logic and the concierge. The vertical line separates today, Wednesday, from Tuesday. Here's Monday. The horizontal lines, those are the weekly trading zones published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. So this was the opening candle last night. So there's two 30-minute candles. It would have been 5 minutes into the life of this candle that these targets were published. We had red and falling overhead, and you see how it took price below the BBC. So we got a leg, a retracement, the pullback to the BBC held, and then we got another leg. Okay, now this short target was based off this bullish cross. We missed getting there by just a little bit. What was the low here? 60.20 and a quarter. So 5 ticks. We missed hitting the short target by 5 ticks. But even in this one candle here, which opened at 60.27, 70, let's see, 60, come on, 60.27.75, put in a low at 60.20.75. So there were 7 points available in that 130-minute candle. You only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. So the market found support. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. We got above the BBC. Got a leg. We got a retracement. This is support times 2. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support. And the pullback to the BBC holds more often than not. So we consolidated along the weekly zone. And then about 11 o'clock, the market got a little bit of energy and took us up to 76.75. Okay, that takes out yesterday's high by a bit. And yesterday we closed that gap from Sunday night. This was the Sunday night gap open on a 30-minute chart. So we came within a few ticks of the short target, and we indeed hit the long target. Okay. On the Dow, here's where we opened last night. Price is trapped. Support below, resistance overhead. Red and falling took us below the BBC. And on the first move down, we didn't quite hit the target. We got a retracement and another leg. That's how price moves. Leg, retracement, leg, retracement, leg. We hit the short target. Then we got back above the BBC. We got a leg, a retracement, the pullback held, a leg, and then it carried us on up to the long target. Okay, based off yesterday's highs. And then after hitting that target, we closed below the BBC. That took us back all the way to the short target, through the short target. We spiked the zone, but look where we ended up closing this candle. Back above the BBC considerably. And then we went on to trade above the long target and hit the weekly trading zone pretty much to the tick. Looks like we missed it by 1 tick. But we got another green candle here, and the step line is directly above the BBC. Once that step line crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, we anticipate a retracement back to the BBC. Looks like we're going to hit that zone before that happens. So then, going to have to look way back to Friday. If we clear this zone, then I would say look for potential resistance right around 44,880. On the Russell, here's where we opened, right at the weekly zone. When blue and climbing gets directly above price, it often becomes resistance because it's on its way to becoming red and falling, which is bearish. When you have blue and climbing, expect higher prices. Red and falling, look for lower prices. But the pullback here held. We consolidated just below the weekly zone. We got a leg, we got a retracement, we got a leg. Took us right up to the target. Then another retracement, back to the BBC and the zone, support ×2. And now we're currently consolidating at the 2320/21 weekly trading zone. These are the zones published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And as you can see, the step line's gotten directly above blue and climbing. So once it crosses, if we consolidate sideways, that step line's going to cross blue and climbing, and that's when you expect your retracement back to the BBC. Then it becomes a question of, is the pullback going to hold? It holds more often than not, but eventually it will trade through. On the NQ, this was the opening candle last night, right at the BBC. We hit red and falling, that's bearish, and it took us all the way down to the short target. We even spiked it just a little bit down to the zone. The zone's actually 21,423/24. And the low is 29 3/4. So missed the zone by a few ticks. Then red and falling turns to blue and climbing. We get above the BBC. You got that perfect stack of price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. And we ripped through the target and the zone. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. When it drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. Only one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the time will be consolidation. It can look like that. It can look like that. 10% of the time, rejection. 70% of the time, consolidation. 20% of the time, rejection. 10% of the time, the slice, like this. That's when price slices through a weekly zone on the 30-minute chart, like it's not even there. When that happens and the move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace back to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. So we'll see if that's what happens today. Crude oil, as we mentioned earlier, trading lower. We opened right at the weekly zone. We did have one attempt to move higher right here at about 8 p.m. Eastern last night. We took out this high by just a little bit, but we failed to take out this high. That's a sign of weakness. So we go back below the BBC. We pull up to the zone. It gives us the resistance that we would expect. That sends us down to the short target. We consolidate there, continue lower, trade through, and again we had another slice here. Now price has retraced to the zone it sliced through. The question is, will price continue in the direction of the slice? You should expect support if price gets down into this area at this low, which is roughly 70.67, so I would call it 70.70. just to be safe. Okay. Now the step line could cross red and falling. If so, instead of getting another leg to the downside, we may first get a retracement back to the BBC. So you just got to be patient and let it happen. On gold, we opened right at the weekly zone, hit the long target, new all-time historic high, and then a retracement. Now the pullback held, even though we spiked all the way down to that long target. We missed hitting the top of it by 8 ticks. When you trade through a long target or a short target on a retracement, if it's a long target that you trade through, it will often become an area of support. If we had traded through the short target and done the same thing, this would be potential resistance. And so that set us up for another new all-time historic high at 29.06. Then we got a retracement back to the BBC. And price is trapped right now. You got support below. You got the step line above. And actually, blue and climbing is right at the top of that candle. So that's a pretty tight consolidation. Wait for price to break out above this high or below this low. Something like 28.80 down to 28.78. That would give you your goal for the day for 2 days. Silver. Here's where we open. Price dropped to the weekly zone at 32.66. Consolidated there. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. It took us all the way up to the long target. And we hit the zone at 33.19/33.20. Resistance will always send the market looking for support, which it found at the zone, 32.66/67. And now we're just consolidating sideways. So there you go. That's each and every one of the markets. Now you can see I've deleted the fib extensions. I'm trying to decide. Typically I would just go from this low to this high to this low here, which would extend upwards. But I got a little concern if price is going to be able to trade through red and falling. There's just so much going on in the world today. The geopolitical tension. There's so many different things. So these are not exactly normal market conditions. But again, this pullback over 3 days, it's still holding and it looks like it wants to go higher. So the big question is if we can get up to 61.02, what happens then? Okay, I think Michael should probably be ready to join us about now. He's going to give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning. And then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform. Then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day. So Michael, I don't know if you're ready yet or not. Yep, looks like he's logged in. So he'll be here in just a second.
Yep, I'm here.
Here he is.
I'm here. Here I am. All right. So you want me to take the charts?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right, here they come. Over to my side. Over to my side. Here we are.
Okay, looks good.
All right. So here, let's start here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 5th day of February, 2025. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, then go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. When you click on that, there is no credit card required for the trial. Click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration link, where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and there's 5 multiple choice questions. answer the multiple choice questions honestly, because if you don't, then you won't get an email, you won't get anything, because it gets channeled differently based on those. So down here, if you have NinjaTrader and you want to use Ninja Charts, give us your machine ID. Now we have limited indicators on Ninja Charts. The old school stuff is on Ninja Charts. The newer stuff is only on TradingView. So you're going to want to get a TradingView account. If you don't already have a TradingView account, you're going to want to get a TradingView account so that you can get the latest and the greatest. All right, click on register and we'll know that you gave us all the information, and you'll get access to the room in the morning, and we'll be able to get your indicators indicating for you. All right, now the spreadsheet we had today was our almost good start day this week. Monday was all messed up. Yesterday ended up being messed up. Today, just the first trade got messed up. Okay, I didn't realize I had to restart the CR charts when I logged on from another location and then logged off from that location. I had to restart on this location. Anyway, the first trade that we took was a Russell trade, and it did give the goal for the day, but I didn't end up taking it because the charts weren't working correctly, or the DOMs are working correctly. So we went through anyway. I got it fixed, and today is the 5th day of February, 2025. I made 31 ticks on the NQ, 24 ticks on the Russell, 40 ticks on gold, and 13 ticks on the ES. So we're up 837.5 today. Today took 14 minutes and 4 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $3,250 with 10 contracts. And we took a total of 34 trades. Now, that ended up being because we had, I think it was a gold trade. Was it a gold trade? No, it was an ES trade that we had on when the news came out at 9:45. I think it was right around there, something like that. The news that came out at 9:45 was the kind of news that's leaked a little bit early. That's why it's 14 minutes. And the market just jumped, and it gave us 20 something ticks on the ES. Anyway, as it turned out, just looking at everything, as it turned out, we ended the morning session. Well, it took 14 minutes and 4 trades to get to 32.50. We took a total of 34 trades, and we ended the morning session with $1,727 per contract. That's where we are in the month, right? $1,727 per contract, averaging $863 per contract per 2-hour business day. Now, we only counted yesterday and today. We didn't count Monday. Monday we're up $1,400, but it was all demo, so I didn't count that. On the year now, we're at $33,905 over 22 business days, averaging $1,541 per contract per 2-hour business day. If you were to quit trading when you hit the goal for the day and had 1 contract a month, so far this year, you would be up $4,620, and you'd be averaging $1,265 per hour. You would have only had to work 3.65 hours so far this year. Okay? Okay, let's get into the trades. Now, the ones we had the most trades on were gold and the ES, then went the NQ, and then the Russell. So we'll just start out with gold. All right, we stuck to the 9 range on gold all morning. I flipped it to the 19 for just a minute to take a look at it, but the 9 range was doing pretty well. Starting in here, this was the first trade. It was a long opportunity right in here. It did go enough to get the stop to break even, and then it came back down. Our first trade on gold was right here. We picked up 1 trade on that, and then we got hooked into this, right? That was the one that we got the news. That was at 10 o'clock. We got hooked into that for 25 ticks. That put us at plus 26. Then the next trade that we took was right here. We stopped out on that one. That put us back down to 11. 11, yeah, it was a 15 tick stop. Put us back down to 11. And then we had 1 tick, got us to 12. 2 ticks got us to 14. 2 ticks got us to 16. And then over here we went from 16 to 28, so we had a pretty good trade right there, a 12 tick trade. And then we had a small trade, went to 30, then a break even, then a 10 tick trade went to 40, and then a break even at the end of the session. And that was what we did this morning with the gold. The gold was pretty good. It was doing well, but you see how today, I'm just going to point this out to any of you guys, how today there were a lot of big moves in the market. And when there's a lot of big moves in the market, you can change tactics very easily. You can just shut off the slingshot. Anything under the YBR, you trade coming out of the overbought. Right? Anything above the YBR, you trade coming out of the oversold. Simple tactic change depending on market conditions. Okay. Easy stuff. And that was it for the gold for us. All right, oops, I didn't mean to move that around. I'll just delete it. That was it for the gold for us this morning. There was another trade right here you could have shorted. It would have been the short at the open of this bar. If you had the 15 tick stop on, you would have gotten that move down right there. This one right here, you would have stopped out on. This one right here, you probably would have stopped out on because you would have been shorting the open of this bar. And it would have gotten you right here on that one. This one right here, you would have had an okay trade. This one right here would have been a great trade. This one would have been a great trade. This one would have been a good trade. This one over here would have been your last one, and that you'd just finished. You'd be short right now, as a matter of fact, from the top of this bar. You could have reversed at the top of that bar. But that was gold. So there was plenty of opportunity there today in gold on the 9-tick range. The Russell, we didn't trade all that much today. We ended up with plus 24 on the Russell. We had a break even there. And then we had one trade that took forever in here, and I ended up with 4 ticks on it. And then we had another trade that I got 20 ticks on that put us at plus 24 overall. I think that is correct. I remember having one trade that took forever on that Russell. And at one point, I thought I put a trade on gold, and I think I put it on Russell, or the other way around, something like that. There was one more trade right in here. You would have shorted the open of this bar, and with the Russell, you got a 25 tick stop. So 15.1, you would have had to go up to 30. 25 would go up to 40. No, and 25, sorry, 15.1 to be 17.6. So your stop would have been 17.9. So it probably would, it depends what it did on this candle. If it went all the way up there first, or if it came down here, look now, it would have stopped you out. That would have been a stop out. It doesn't matter. You would have stopped out for sure. This one would have been break even though. And you'd have a trade right here, right now. Okay, I could probably still put that one on. Let me see. All right, I got an order waiting. The entry point should have been right here at 20.6. Okay, 20.6. And from 20.6, it would have had to have gone down to 19.6 to bump the stop to break even. So it's still okay to get into. Here, I just got into it. Here it is. All right, I'm in at 20.4. Not the best entry, but not too bad. That is shorting the open of the bar after you go into the overbought right here. Okay. We're in some chop, so this ought to be an okay trade, but we'll see. Let me put my window always on top like that, and then we'll be able to just let that sit and go to the next market. The next market here was the ES. Okay, on the ES today, we were back and forth a lot. Our high of the day, we're at 26 on the ES. We never got below 0, but we went down to single digits and back quite a bit. It felt like. Okay, so here we are. So our first trade of the day on the ES, we got 2 ticks. And then that one there, we got 26 ticks. That put us at 26. We had a break even and a stop out, got us down to 16. Then we didn't do any of these nice trades in here. I don't know what the heck I was doing, but we didn't. Oh, the news came out. I didn't do that one. I didn't do this one right over here. I didn't do that one. The next one we did was over here. It went from 16 to 17, so we got 1 tick there. Then we stopped out again and went down to 7. Then we picked up 10 ticks here and went to 17. Then I was showing the dime principle here where it should go, but the time element got totally messed up. It did eventually go to that level over there. That's why, Levi, that's why you are using the dime principle and just making money hand over fist, because you don't have a stop on down here to stop you out when it pulls back like this. You're able to project that it's going to get up there, and it does get up there. Something to consider. But anyway, we're at 17 after this plus 10 right here, and then we stopped out again, went back down to 7. Then we had a plus 1, went to 8, plus 1 went to 9, and a plus 4 went to 13, and that's what we ended on the ES for the morning. There was, during the break, 1 trade right here. The open of that bar would have been a nice trade, a decent trade, not nice. The open of this bar would have stopped you out. The open of this bar would have been profitable. The open of this bar right here would have worked out. The open of this bar right here would have worked out. The open of this bar right here would have worked out. And the open of this bar right here would have worked out. That was the ES. So there were some stop outs on the ES. This has to go 10 ticks into profitable to stop to break even. Gotta get down here to 19.4. I don't know if I can put a little alert thing on that. I haven't tried that. Anyway, that was yes. This, by the way, is not DT Pro. This is Sierra. So there were a couple of hangups today, but I'm gonna end up liking this Dawn better than DT Pro Dawn when I'm done. I'm sure once I get used to it. All right, so the NQ, we only had a couple of big trades on the NQ today. We had some small ones and a full stop out. Our first trade on the NQ here was 32 ticks. Then we had a 75 tick right there. I actually had 20 contracts on that one by accident. But we went to 107 at that point. Then we had a break even there. Then we stopped out on that one, went back down to 47. Then we had a small gain there to 51. And a pretty good gain there that got us up to 75. And then we stopped out again, back down to 15. And then from 15 went up to 27, and from 27 went up to 31. I believe that was it that we did on the NQ today. Now, let me take a moment and just show you guys something. Okay. Because I did it quickly this morning and I've brushed over it many times. But when you have a trending market like this, the divergence trades don't work out as well with the trending market. You might get the first one. This, we got to bump to break even. So to get it to break even right now, guys, there's two ways. I can right click and go move stop this through. So I can move stop to break even. I can go up to the top and grab it and move it down if I want to. Oops, move it down to break even. Or I can hit Control Z like that, and it bumps it right down to break even automatically. All right. If you don't have those keystrokes set, I can show you how to set them in a few minutes. All right. I don't know if Jill or Dan is watching, but I can show you how to set those keystrokes as well. So I'm going to lock in some profit on this right now. We're in at 0.4, so I'll just lock in 10 ticks on this trade. All right. This is the Russell. Now, if we go back and look at the Russell, it is right here. Where should this go down to? It should find support right here at 18.1. Right here at 18.1, it should find some support. Okay. So, I'm going to trail my stop a little closer because it might find support there. So I'm going to lock in 12 ticks on this right now. Right, 12 ticks on that. Right here, 18.1 is where it should find support down here. If it gets all the way down there, that'd be great. That'd be 23 ticks. Okay. I put a target down there. Now, when I do that, that screwed things up today. When I added a secondary target like that, after the trade was live, that screwed things up on me today with the DOM. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to try to get out of that habit of adding secondary targets on the fly like that. Let's see, we'll lock in. That's 14 ticks right there. And 15. And it's 15 ticks at $50 a tick right now. This is what it is, right? So right here is where I'm expecting. You see how this is almost all the way down into the oversold. So we need a down close on this bar. That would get us both things that I'm looking for. It get us down here to 18.1. It would get that into the oversold. It's not going to give us a trade going in the opposite direction yet, but it might set something up pretty soon. Now, here we are. We're going to lock in some more on this. Now that's 22 ticks, right? No, I'm sorry, that's 18 ticks. 18 ticks, and we got out with 18. So that was okay. That was a nice trade. Just about down to where I thought it was going to go. Should find some support there, maybe bounce back up. The thing that I was going to show you was here on the on the NQ. On the NQ. See, when you're above the YBR, when you have a trending day like this, you have long legs. That's a trending day when you have long legs. You can use the YBR and use the ultimate, the slingshot, the trigger. Oh, gosh, I just said the wrong word twice. Different wrong word twice. You can use the trigger when it's coming out of the oversold. All right. If you're above the YBR, it comes out of the oversold, you buy. If you're above the YBR and it comes out of the oversold, you buy. That one didn't work out. But whenever you do that, you want to see the thing continue from the oversold to the overbought, right? Before you trade in that direction again. Because if it doesn't continue from there to there, you're in chop. And then you can switch back to the other tactic if you want to. Now, when the trades don't go from the overbought to the oversold to the oversold to the overbought, and they start to move around in the middle, that's when you're going to start to see the chop. Okay, so right in here, for example, we throw this back on. This right here, you would have been able to buy the open of that bar right there. Okay, and right now you'd be able to buy the open of this bar right here on the NQ. Okay, because it's in a little bit of chop right here. If you wanted to have a bias on it, you could only do the buys when you get the divergent buys. There is something to be said for that, but I just want to point out to you that you can do this tactic change really easily. If you see you have long legs in a market, then the pullback legs are going to be shorter and the push legs are going to be longer. The divergence trades don't work as well in that the divergence works better in chop, and 80% of the time you're in chop. Days where you have trending days, you're not likely to have as many opportunities with the diversion trades, and that was kind of like today. Now, we had a lot of trades, but we didn't hit $1,000 a contract. All right, I just want to point that out to you. For anybody that's watching and is doing this, it's really simple stuff, and you can trade any kind of market. The divergent trades work great in chop, so you can trade in chop. You can sit down and trade chop anytime you want. Or should you not want to trade chop and wait for the trend trades, then all you have to do is my PayPal. There is, David. Did I create it? Your banker said it was a pleasure to help me with my problems apart. Dare I say it was not my problem, but I guess we weren't the ones getting paid, so I guess it was my problem ultimately. It hadn't turned into your problem yet. All right, so there's a long here on the ES, there's a long here on the NQ. Here, sorry, bing, here's the ES trade, here's the NQ trade. And there was a short here. We took this Russell short already. The NQ, I don't know if it's gone 5 points into profit from my spot. 89.25 would have to go up to 94.20. It did, so I'm going to go to break even on this. I'm going to break even on that. This needs to go 4 ticks into profit, so it's going to go up to 71. I don't think it's made it up there yet. Okay, on the NQ, I'm going to bump that stop to +4. Okay, and on the S, it's going to get up to 71 right here. 71. All right, the NQ, I'm in at 89.25, so I'm going to lock in 12 right there. And now this one's going to go to break even, right? Break even on the ES. I'm actually going to lock in some profit on the ES. I'm going to lock in 4 ticks on the ES. And 89 up to 95, that's 28 ticks right there, isn't it? 28, 24. 24 ticks right there. Okay, and from here, we'll go to 28 and 32. It's 32 ticks right there. We're at 0.25, right? Yeah, 32 ticks right there. Okay, we're gonna lock in a couple more over here on the ES. 6 ticks on the ES, and now from 32, we'll go all the way up to 40 on that. Our 75 tick profit target is right up there, so I'm gonna go right here to 701. 89, that was 11. 44 ticks is what that ended up being. 11 points. And we're going to go to 2 points here on the ES. Right, the ES is actually showing a short right now. So we're going to run our stop pretty close. We're at +8 on the ES right there. We're out at +8 on the ES. And now the ES actually has a short right where it is. Okay. The NQ, we got the 44 ticks, 11 points, 44 ticks on that. And the ES, we just picked up 8 ticks on that. The gold's got a short right where it is. So here it is. All right. Gold goes to break even after 5, and it just took me out of break even. And the ES right now, we need 4 ticks in profit on the short side of this. So we picked up 8 ticks on the long side. The short side should do a retracement of that, but you see the kind of chop that we're in right here, right? We're at the top level of the chop right here. So now it should push down toward the bottom level. If it gets halfway through, we'll be able to take some profit out of that. All right. Your cheat, 20 SMA, you say? Oops. Let's take a look at that. Let me go get my Dom back first, though. Hang on a sec. That's the wrong thing. Where is it? Here it is. Here. Here's my Dom. Okay, I gotta put Windows, stay on top. Let's do that over here. 4 ticks in profit we need. There's 2. I'm just gonna watch this for a second. There's 4. We'll stop to break even. Okay. So we end up with a break even here. 44 there, 8 there, and now I'm gonna lock in 2 more to 10 here. Now this is the point where I thought it should get down to right here. So I'm gonna lock in 4. I'm actually just gonna get out with 4. All right. I was saying it should retrace 50% of this leg up right here. And that's where it's just gone to. So we've now gotten 12 ticks on the ES, 44 ticks over here on the NQ, and a break even on the gold so far. Did I do the Russell trade? I don't remember if I did the Russell trade. I don't think I did, because we would have been short from right there. All right. So yeah, let's take a look at that. David said, if you add a 21 SMA on here, moving average simple. Did you say 20 or 21? 20. 20. 20. And make it a little thicker so everybody can see it. If it's flat, you're in chop. So if it's flat, use the divergence. If it's going up like this, wait till it comes out of the overbought and oversold. That's basically what David was saying. Because it can be flat and still above the YBR. Okay, so that was what David's suggestion was. So you can see when it's trending and see when it flattens out. It's a good theory. Good theory. You know, what I could do is calculate the slope on this or the rate of change on this and color the YBR with it, because these colors here in the YBR are related to the original slingshot, which we don't use. So that is something that I could do to help you guys out in the future. So you'd be able to see when the rate of change actually registers to be, you know, a certain amount, the slope of that. That's the way that they do it, the code in does rate of change. It's basically the same thing as slope. Interesting stuff. Yes, thank you, partner. Thank you for your input. And thank you, banker, for me too. All right, so it is 1:20. We have 10 minutes left in here, guys. 10 minutes. And this is a long trade right here on the gold, but I can't find my gold Dom. Hold it. Hold it. Here it is. That's not it. Where is it? GC. Here it is. There it is. So it was a long trade. I could have gotten it at a better price there just a second ago, 93.4, and now it's gone all the way up to 93.8. 93.9, it's gone too far. If I had my Dom ready, I would have been in here at 93.2 or so. My stop would be a break even already. I messed that one up. All right, so We almost have a trade here on the ES. If we get a down close on this, it'll be a trade right there on the ES. That wouldn't be a hard change to make, to color the YBR based on the slope. I could make it green if it's got enough slope to want to trade the trend, and leave it yellow if it's flat. That would be an easy transition. Interesting stuff. That way you don't have another line on the chart to look at. The less on the chart, the better, in my opinion. Nothing is good. Nothing is the best. But I know, I had it so that you could do it with actually nothing and just have alerts. But I know looking at just a blank canvas with absolutely nothing on it is, looking at that and then just getting an alert that says to go long. People have a hard time trusting that, especially people who've ever used charts. But the purists, there's a certain group of people out there that just want to get something sent to their phone that says buy this, and that's what they do. That demographic is definitely there. All right. So now we are waiting, just waiting. I thought the ES might give us something here, but it didn't close down, it closed up. Actually, it closed down, but it didn't go down. No, I'm sorry, that one didn't close up. See that thing, David, that I was talking about last night? It has a look just like that right there. I don't know if you saw it this morning when I brought it over. This, so you'd be looking for something like this right here. When you get that, you buy the open of the next bar. Right here, you'd buy the open of the next bar. You'd sell the open of the next bar. You'd buy the open of the next bar. Sell the open of the next bar. There's not necessarily just one bar in between those. I know it looks like it here, but there's not necessarily just one bar in between those. Could be several bars in between those. This right here on gold is a short right now. And the proper entry point would be right there at 3.5. I just got in at 3.4 on the gold. Here it is. Okay. And once it goes 5 ticks into profit from 0.4, it's going to hit 0.9 here, the yellow. I see it 0.9 right there. Once that happens, then I will bump it. There it is. I will bump it to break even. And something is not working properly. So I think I am just going to flatten this right now and take some profit on it. When I went to look to break even, I saw some message pop up on my other side over here. There's something about child pending or something like that. There's something screwed up that I'm doing wrong. But we just got some more profit on that. It flattened it at a market order, so I'm not exactly sure how that worked out. I will, but it'll just be a tease because I like the way it looks right now, but we'll see. But this right here, we just got some profit on that when I flattened it. I don't know exactly what I got, but check later. All right. No other trades coming up. It's 1:26, so I only have about 3.5 minutes left right now. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go ahead to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple. There's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that purple. It's going to bring you to this registration page. On the registration page, all you have to do is fill it out. It takes like 30 seconds. Do that, it could change your life. Literally. It really could. Take the trial, learn how to do this, and it could change your life. Literally. All right. So, waiting. We just don't have anything. The gold, we were able to get in on that one. We were able to get in at 0.3. I thought we were in on that one, right? 0.4 was the optimal place. 0.3 is where we got in, I think. And then dropped down 13 ticks. 13 ticks at $100 a tick for me. So I only got about 6 of that. And kind of a slow start compared to last month. I mean, any normal month, last year, starting out like that would be great. But compared to last month, where we started out with such an awesome day right there on that first day of the year. But, well, we had the whole Dom fiasco. And FCM wasn't just introducing broker, it was the FCM too.
Jack L in TradingView says TradingView Essential 2 charts for $7.45 per month. Is that a good deal? What was the Black Friday price?
Yeah, that's about the Black Friday price. Yeah,
And
that's a
I
good deal.
said,
They have that
I
going
forget,
on.
You have to, for those deals, you usually have to pay annually.
Yep, you got to buy the annual package to get that deal. We're already on the annual package, so we don't get any deal. But they must have a sale going on right now for some reason. And those sales that they have, they're geographic sales. They're not global sales. They're limited to certain places. CS is going to trade right here. They're limited to certain places.
Huh.
Like wherever Jack lives, maybe a sale going on there, but there might not be one here on the East Coast. But yeah, that's a good deal. If you can get it, the Essential for $7 a month is half price. It's 50% off. It's for $7.50. It's normally $15, roughly $15 a month for the Essential. But you do have to pay for the whole year when you do that. But still, it's the whole year for 50%. So if you plan on using your charts all year, then and you got the money in your pocket, then it would be foolish not to take advantage of that. Okay, so we got a couple of trades going on here right at the very end. Right at the very end of the session, it's 129, and we got a short on the gold. I have a short here on the ES. Now the gold's going to go to break even after 5 ticks in profit. The ES is going to go to break even after 4 ticks in profit. Okay, and there's the ES one going to break even. And we'll lock in a couple more on the ES. So now we're up at 8 and 4. So we're now at 14 ticks in this session on the ES. And we're out with 14 ticks in this session on the ES. The gold, we had like 6 ticks, I think, on that last trade. And we're up 44 ticks on the NQ. The NQ's got a trade right here too. But it is time for me to wrap it up. And I do have a lot of other stuff to do today, so I am going to have to wrap it up. So I guess with that, we'll pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, and Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Wayne, if you are ready.
Yep. Do you want me to wait?
Nah, it's okay. We can wrap it up. We can wrap it.
Okay. Okay. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 14 minutes and 4 trades to get to $3,250 with 10 contracts.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay guys, we made it all the way through all the markets. Take one last peek at the daily. Okay, again, we're overcoming the step line, potential resistance, but like a heat-seeking missile, we're headed for red and falling, which is most likely going to be resistance. So keep an eye on that. Right now, it's at 61.02 and change. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, just put "I want to become a member." In the body of the email, put your name, your phone number. I'm not going to call you, but we'll send you an informational email that explains what it means to become a member and everything you have access to. Like 2 hours of live training every trading day. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. So we plug that hole with 2 hours of interactive group training every trading day. On top of that, you have access to private one-on-one mentoring, the strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, the concierge trade alerts the second they're published each evening. Monday mornings, you get the weekly trading zones at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and you're able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. We have both public and private channels. But once you become a passport holder, that opens the door to all of them for you. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. And that's a good deal. All right, let's wrap it up with our good word for the day. Our topic, listen more carefully. Mark 7:14. Hear me, everyone, and understand. Jesus said, hear me, everyone, and understand. He spoke life-changing words, but he understood that preoccupied minds don't always listen too well. So, are you a good listener? 1. If you're a leader, do you listen to your followers? The kind of leaders people want to follow do more than conduct business when they interact with you. They take the time to get a feel for who you are as a person. Philip Stanhope, the Earl of Chesterfield, believed many a man would rather you heard his story than granted his request. If you're accustomed to listening only to the facts and not the person who expresses them, change your focus. Really listen. 2. If you're in business, do you listen to your customers? The Cherokee saying states, listen to the whispers, and you won't have to hear the screams. Never get so caught up in your own ideas and products that you don't hear your customers' concerns, complaints, and suggestions. Businesses should see unhappy customers not as a problem, but as an opportunity to improve their service. That's why you should make it a priority to keep in contact with the people you're serving. And number 3, if you're committed to growth, are you listening to your mentors? You will never become so advanced or experienced that you can afford to be without mentors. If you don't have mentors, go out and find them. If you can't find a mentor, Begin by reading the right books, starting with your Bible. If you're not following in the footsteps of someone wiser than you, there's a good chance you're not on the right path. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.